Usually in the manifestation process, there is a time gap between when you know that you want something, you decide that you get to have it, or you decide that you want it, and when it actually shows up. And this is the part that can feel the most frustrating. A lot of the inner child wounding type of things will come up where it's like, well, maybe it's not here because I'm not good enough. Or, you're questioning and doubting whether the money, the love, the resources, whatever it is that you have decided that you get to have or that you want to have can show up. And what what I like to call this is the manifestation gap, and it's this time period where it feels like nothing is happening. You're not necessarily seeing any evidence that your person is coming or that more money is on its way to you. This is the point where I think the real work actually begins. And this is the place where most people give up, right? You hear most people give up right before the miracle happens. This happens all the time. And also, this is where having support in your corner can be really beneficial to help you hold the vision and help you work through the things that come up during the manifestation gap. So, why does the gap happen? I used to explain it in this way, and this is true. It's like your reality is catching up to your decision. So everything is energy, and your fit like the things that are here in the physical are just slower energy. That's like a super watered down version of how this is happening. But what is happening is you've decided that you want something. Your spiritual body, your emotional and energetic bodies all are not contained by the slowness of the physical. Your physical body, however, has to catch up. Your 3D world has to catch up. Now, instant manifestations are very real and happen frequently. And the more that you practice this, the slower, the closer together the timeline becomes. But I'm talking about the situations where it's not instant, right? This gap does exist. So the easier way to explain this is the manifestation isn't happening instantly because your external, the 3D world, is a reflection of what is happening in your internal world, how you believe that the world works, how you believe that the world works for you, how you view yourself, how you go through and experience life, right? And so when you decide and do the work, right? You decide that you want something. Can it come instantly? Yes. What's more than likely going to happen though is this gap happens and it takes time for your internal to shift fully so that the external can shift fully. So once you fully embody the version of you that has the thing can show up fully embodied, right? Another point here is I believe, and I go into manifestation very intentionally. I make decisions intentionally. I slow my nervous system down and regulate and go at the world from this place of power and not from trauma response and being activated and triggered and, letting my emotions rule. I used to. I can imagine some people watching this are like, Ashley, I don't believe that. Well, that was, I've done this work, right? But I believe that in being intentional, I don't want to ask for something that I'm not ready to hold. What does that look like? That looks like I want $10 billion. Okay, I am not somebody that is ready to hold $10 billion. This is, you see this with people that win the lottery, right? They win the lottery, they don't know how to hold it, they don't know what to do with it. They've never had, a large sum of money like that before. They probably don't have a good support system of people that they trust to help guide them. They don't hire that support, lawyers and accountants and things like that. So then they just blow it, right? They just spend all the money. And then they're like, "Oh," and they probably end up in a situation worse or I don't know, whatever. This is what they're telling me to say. Worse than before they actually won the lottery because they were regulated to having a certain amount of money, and then this new money just dumped in and it is dysregulating. They don't know what to do with it, and then it's gone, right? And this happens so often. And I talk about this in my other videos as well, where it's like, if you want $10,000 to just come and show up, are you prepared to hold it? And hold it meaning, what are you going to do with it? And I know other people that teach manifestation say things like being a match to the money or having a place for the money to go. And yes, those things are true, but it's more about emotional regulation, being able, or nervous system regulation, emotional regulation, being able to not freak out. Like, I mean, you're going to be excited. Of course, you're going to be excited. But but what happens is, and people don't believe this until it happens. And I mean, it's like every single client, I swear, that I've worked with, this happens. The things start to come in, and then it's like, shit, what do I do now? Right? Um, in relationships, your quote unquote dream person comes in and you sabotage it because it doesn't feel safe or health, it doesn't feel safe to hold a healthy relationship, right? And so this is why this gap period is important because you want to learn to be and fully embody the version of you that can hold it and not push it away and not spend the money and not, continuously fight with the new person or um, I'm laughing because I just watched a movie and, it was like this dynamic playing out. Her dream person came in and she could not hold it. She pushed it away. She was like, this guy is boring and, all of these different things. And so this is what we do, right? These are the ways that we self-sabotage, push our desires away. And I don't want to be the version of me that is calling things in and then repelling them. I want to be the version of me that calls these things in and then gets to fully receive them and enjoy them and experience them. And so having this gap, having this time period where you're in the unfolding of your desires happening gives you that space in order to do that. Learning how to decondition from hustle culture, the patriarchy, the ways that our systems, money systems, relational systems, how they have been set up that don't work for us anymore. So, for example, if you have a business and the way that you've always been taught how to run a business is, you have to be working and the only way to receive money is if you're, working 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and, you forego family time and you don't, spend time with your friends. You're just like in it, you're in your business constantly. And it's like, can you receive wealth from that? Of course. But in living consciously, in manifesting consciously, do you want to be the person that has to work harder in order to receive more? And your soul is here at a time where it's like, we're not doing this shit anymore. No. And so the gap gives you time to decondition and learn new ways in order to receive. So what this looks like is, okay, I want to make $10,000 a month in my business, right? And I am going to work 6 days a week. And it's like, no, no, calm down. Like, I am the version of me that receives $10,000 a month in my business. I am the version of me that prioritizes rest. I am the version of me that prioritizes nourishing my body and spending time with my family and celebrating the small wins. I am the version of me that understands that me being me is enough. I am a match for my desires. My desires are given to me for a reason beyond just my own satisfaction, and pleasure. And this gives you time to align to the version of you that is living in a new way. The other piece of this is, I'm getting, they're showing me a bunch of pictures. Uh, okay. The way in which you manifest, create abundance, wealth is the way it's like you're locking it in more and more and more, right? What they're showing and what they're saying. And when I say they, my guides, my team, the energy, right? Like that just pours through me that some people say it's like downloads, whatever. And so usually when I do these videos, I'm not like so open that this is what's happening, but I know that it can look kind of weird if you don't have that understanding of how I actually operate. So they're like, if we give you the $10,000 in you doing things the way that you've always done it, you're going to think that is how you have to continue to do things in order to receive the money. We want to teach you, and this gap is a time for co-creation, you to learn co-creation, you to learn that you don't have to do more, you simply have to be more, right? And so what does that look like? That looks like using your tools. That looks like, okay, they're like journaling, meditation, whatever it is for you to be able to slow down and reprogram those. They're like, I'm not saying that. We're going way too far deep into this, but basically, we want to deprogram. We want to, yeah, okay. They're like decolonize and all of these things. But we don't want to continue operating the way that we've always operated. And the gap gives us time to shift and like get nuggets. Like perhaps $500 comes in and it's like learning how to receive and detach from the outcome and surrender and know that it's coming and know that you don't have to kill yourself in order to receive your desires. Okay. So, dun, 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 I'm just looking at my notes because I like to make sure that I'm staying on. Okay, so how do you hold yourself in the gap? Well, hire me. This is one of the ways that I help my clients because things come up, and when you're in the moment, and like even for me, sometimes it's like I reach out to my coach and I'm like, shit, what do I do? I know what to do, but it's nice to have somebody else holding the vision and holding the energy and being like, that's the old stuff. That's the old stuff playing out, right? But when the quickest and easiest thing to do is to start to pay attention to your thoughts, start to pay attention to why you do things and how you're feeling, shifting from, is it working? When is the thing coming? How do I, like, what do I need to do? Into, it is done. It is done. My desires are given to me and it is done. Instead of wondering if it will happen, pretend like you bought, you're like, well, I'm going to fly to Florida. I bought the tickets and I'm not going to like freak out every day and be like, is Florida still there? Well, like, are they still flying planes? It's like, no, it's done. Like I bought the ticket, I'm going, right? It's like it's already done. It's already done. And this takes practice, right? Um, and one of the things that when I was like really working towards manifesting big things in my life, um, I kept saying to myself, if you knew, Ashley, if you knew for a fact that you were going to receive this thing, or you had the relationship, or blah, 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 right? How would you move through your day? What decisions would you make? And it's like, if I'm the version of me that is making, you know, $1 million a year, what would I be doing? Well, I wouldn't be like frantically using my calculator to like calculate things and I would be way more relaxed. It's like, okay, so be her now, right? Be her now. How would I be in relationship? Well, I wouldn't be stressing over options. I don't know how else to say that. Stop looking for proof. This this really pissed me off in the beginning because it's like, no, but I need the proof, right? Like I need the proof. I need the proof. I need the guarantee. I need to know. Like I'm going on a limb here. I need to know the thing. And this comes up a lot with my clients too, because it's like this is how we've learned to survive is I'm gonna put a little out there and we're just like testing it, right? And it's like that's not how it works. Not if you want to shift from barely surviving to thriving to calling in and creating a new life for yourself. And when you constantly are checking, right? Like you're constantly checking your messages, you're constantly checking your bank account. You're in a state of lack and you're looking for the proof and evidence, but you are the proof and evidence. You are the proof and evidence. Your desire, right? Your desires are not given to you as a tease or to punish you, or they're given to you because that is a lot of things, but when it boils down to it, it's tied to your purpose. It's tied to like why we're even here in the first place. Celebrate along the way. I've said this before in other videos, and I say this a lot, like in trainings and stuff that I do. If you are somebody that is able to celebrate the small wins, it's like you are in the trusting, you are in the unfolding, you are in the belief that you get to have what you want. For example, one of my clients many years ago, she's like, I found a penny. And she was so excited about the fact that she found a penny. And, in my mind, I'm like, wow, like she's really excited that she found a penny. But it wasn't about the penny, it was about the pet fact that this is money in front of her. And she was in the energy of receiving. And when you're in this energy of receiving, it makes it so much easier to see the opportunities. Now, they may be small, they may be minuscule, but they're still there. And when you can see little things, you can see big things and you can appreciate it. And that just like opens up the doors for so many different ways that your desires can come to you. So the final piece is detaching from the timeline, which it can be tough, right? Like we're trained to set a goal, set a deadline, and like work towards it. It can be difficult, but when you learn to release the attachment to when something is going to happen or how it's going to come to you, and you can learn to trust that everything is always in perfect timing, and you can start to receive things more quickly with the more practice that you do and start to enjoy your day to day, moment by moment in the here and now, knowing that your desires are always on their way to you. I use this this metaphor, this visual a lot, where it's like if you have a garden hose, a water hose, and you crank it and it's like just a tiny little drip of water can come. That's when you're like, it's got to be by June 1st. I've got to meet my person by this because I have a wedding to go to and I don't want to go alone, or I need this money by this date so that I can buy this thing, or blah 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 blah. You're like tensing and crimping the flow of abundance, the flow of your desires, right? And when you just like relax, like chill out, which I know if somebody tells me to chill out, I'm not gonna be happy about it. But when you're able to just be like, my desires are always coming, you will be able to see the opportunities as they come so much more clearly, so much more quickly. And the flow of things to you becomes so much um easier, and with what's the word? It's sustainable. And that's kind of the point. And that's the point of having the gap in the manifestation from when you decide to when you receive it. Because life gets a lot more fun. Life gets a lot easier when you're not resistant in all of these ways. Your desires are already yours. They've been set in motion from the moment that you decided. The only thing that will delay your desires is you getting in your own way, doubting, having impatience, or trying to force things into place. Let go, trust, which I know it's not the easiest thing. This takes practice. But if you're ready to step into the version of you that easily and effortlessly calls in your desires, the link is in my bio. I would love to support you in your journey to receiving everything you want.